Hello, Math 1020 class. Let's do those two problems from section 6.2, and I'm going to do them on the TI-83 Plus calculator. Most of you do have that calculator. It says, find the quartic function that is the best fit for the data in the table below. Report the model with 3 significant digits in the coefficients. So let's enter the data points first. And remember, the way you do that is to hit the stat key first, then choose edit. And we want to enter the x values in the L1 column. And my x values go from -2 to 4. They're all integers. And I'm going to input my y values too. Alright, so we're looking for the best fit quartic function. Hit the stat key now, scroll over to calculate, and notice that option 7 is quartic regression. So select that, press enter, and that's the answer. Notice, by the way, that B, D, and E all have that factor of e to the -12 or e to the -11. That means times 10 to the -12 or times 10 to the -11. Excuse me. Those three coefficients are essentially 0. So the answer really is just -2x to the 4th plus 0.5x squared. Well, let's go ahead and do number 2. The adjacent table gives the number of worldwide internet users in millions. And part A says, find the cubic function that is the best fit for the data with y equal to the number of millions of users and x equal to the number of years from 1990. So once again, we have to enter data points first. So go back to the stat key, select edit. And remember, whenever you want to clear a list on this calculator, highlight the list and press clear enter. You never press delete. And as always, I'm going to put my x values in the first column, L1. But keep in mind that x is the number of years after 1990, and the first year in my table is 1995. So the first x value is 5. And the very last year is 2007, which is 17 years later. And it looks like all the years in between are included. So my x value should go from 5 to 17. Part A says find the cubic function that is the best fit for the data. So let's go to the stat key, go over to calculate. This time we want to find a cubic regression, which is option 6. And it might be a good idea, since we have multiple parts in this problem, to save this function as y1. So let me remind you how to do that. First, press the variables key. That's to the left of the clear button. Go over to y variables, choose function, and then select y1 before you press enter. So it looks like the answer, and by the way, the decimal number should be to the nearest thousandth. So -0.423x cubed plus 16.965x squared minus 104.204x plus 148.580. That's part A. Part B says use the model to predict the number of users in 2014. they've essentially given us the x value there. 2014 is not technically the x value because x is the number of years after 1990. But 2014 corresponds to x equals 24 because 2014 is 24 years after 1990. So we just want the function value when x is equal to 24. Probably the best way to do it is to go to the table. So hit second graph, that'll take you to the table, and go ahead and scroll down to 24. Looks like the answer to the nearest integer is 1,575. That's part B. Part C says, compare the graphs of the data and the model to determine if the model is a good or poor fit for the data. And one way to do that, I suppose, is to look at the scatter plot along with the corresponding regression. So I would go to stat plot, which is right above y equals, select plot 1, turn it on, and then take a look at the graph of the scatter plot along with the cubic model. But you might want to be careful a little bit with the window, because notice the x values go from 5 to 17, so that's why I changed my x max to a 30. And the y values go from 12 to 1201 in my table. That's why I changed y max to 3000. So I should see the scatter plot pretty well. There it is, along with the corresponding regression equation curve. So it does appear to be a good fit. And I think the answer on that one is just about always good fit.